the datum, and it's going to be from here shown from the structure grid. And you can place your grid in the building here, as you see here. Here it picks the center of the wall, and you can run the grid from both sides. You can run it from the starting end to the end of the wall. But I think one of the good things is to start placing your structural columns, because as we said, the grid is bound to the structural elements, not to the architectural elements. But since the architectural element is aligned with the structural element, you see eventually the grid line is just in the middle, or it's relative to the structural and architectural elements. But originally they should be bound to the structural elements. Right. If I go to the structure and I pick my column, here I loaded this already, so that you can go to load family and pay attention. You will see two groups. One of it is called columns, and that is not architectural. The other one is in the structure columns, and you have here several groups. If you pick the concrete one, it gives you several ones. One with a cap, and I hope you remember what is the benefit of having the cap here, if you still remember it. And you will have the round one, and you have the square, and you have the oblong one or the rectangular one. If I pick that one and I open it, it's going to load to my drop down, and I see it here. It does have those three ones: 300, 450, 600. I created this one, so that what you can do is just you go here, edit the type according to the dimension that you want to have. And of course, duplicate, give it a name that you want to name it here, and you adjust the dimension. B and H, if you still recall, B and H for the columns. That is the common B, the width and the height of the cross section. It doesn't give you information about the height of the column here because it's going to be shown in somewhere else. If you hit that, the column itself also does have materials in here, and that material is concrete cast in place. It says here gray. That is my column. This is important. So this is my column here, and you have here something that after you place it. This is where the column should be placed. Are you talking about depth of the column, so that the layer that you pick, or the level that you are, you go down from it or you go up? If you go up, you have to pick the height. By default, it's going to be, I think, depth, so that you have to adjust to the height, because you will place your column and won't see it in the plan. So this is one of the problems that is common. If you pick the depth, it will show up going down. You have to make the plan so that my level is level 1. This is the top constraint. It is in the level 1, and it goes to level 2, and I can pick level 3. So it goes to level 2. Let's make it level 3, and then in this case, the height will be locked because it's not going to work out fine. Now I need to place it. This is something also you need to be careful while you are placing the columns. Sometimes the column is not going to be placed properly, as you would see from here. So this is one of the problems that you would see. So that suppose I place it in here. This is my column here has several things we need to adjust for. One of the things is that the width of the column is 20 centimeters and the width of the brick is 20 centimeters, which work perfectly together. Sometimes the column might be bigger than the brick in here, and that will cause lots of problems, by the way, because now imagine this wall again. The dimension in this wall, the outer layer here is about 5, and if I go to the and look up the type of that, what is the material? Let's refresh our memory on the materials. You have substrate concrete 0.05, and then you have gypsum board 0.01. Now suppose I'm going bigger than the 20 centimeters. My column in this case is going to be a little bit in here. And suppose that column dimension is not 20. Suppose it is, let's pick another dimension. Suppose it's 30 centimeters. This will create lots of problems. It's not lots. It's some construction problem, some aesthetic problem, architecture problem. One of the things is that when you stand in the corner here or you stand in the room, you will see this knee bouncing inside the room, which will look very ugly, by the way, unless it's architecturally meant in order to have some decoration or some pattern in the wall. If it's done haphazardly like this, it will be ugly. So this is one of the things. The other problem, it comes when you are having a thickness or a layer that you cannot adjust for less than this, similar to the problem of the door. You remember that I said that better to have one brick complete before placing the door in order for the construction or the mason to do it well. Here also the same thing. Suppose you have a layer here that you cannot divide into half. When you place this column at the edge here or at the surface of the wall, when it meets the column, you will run into a problem. You don't know what to do. So that because we are not drafting lines, just an imaginary line. These lines are constructed now. So that this thickness compared to this thickness, how it's implemented, sometimes it cannot be done. So that better to think this out, either to make your door or the column completely flushed, aligned with one wall or one layer, like this. And at the same time, you can adjust the width of it in order to be flush with the other layer. Now, if you are doing gypsum board layer inside your interior wall, it's ugly to make the column flushed with this gypsum board, because it's going to be, the gypsum board has to be continuous, covering the whole wall. And at the same time, from the other side, better when you place your exterior, because if the column for any reason, and I think I can show you this practically, if I move this column, I will tell you some stuff how to adjust, but I'm just going to just explain. If I move it to the surface like that, and I come to my elevation. I think it's east. Yes, you see that the column is exposed because it is aligned with the material, the finished material, so that it's exposed. You can see it from outside. It becomes, of course, very ugly because the column is structurally flushed with the structural material of the wall, and then over that you come with the materials and clad everything so that it becomes smooth. So that let's correct for this. If I go to my, and this is, by the way, is a construction problem, working drawing problem. It's not just how the building will look like. So that you can come here and then I will drag this a little bit inside like this. And if I go back, of course, I didn't overcome the problem here, but I'm just showing you what mistakes you might run into in order to avoid it. So that the column here is embedded completely in the wall, so that it's not showing up. So this is a thing that you need to adjust. So that to overcome this problem, I will adjust my column to be 20. And I can align it. If it's placed like this, I can come and use this thing align. It's opposite to the CAD, by the way. You have to pick the one thing that you need to align to, and then you pick the other thing. So that I pick this. And here it tells me that the face of the core And in here, I pick that and I pick this. It's going to be aligned perfectly like that. So that here I have a right construction detail. The column is embedded in the walls, and the finishes comes afterwards, like plastering, anything, coated, all of the structural material. It's going to be aligned perfectly. This is really what I need to see in your drawing, and this is going to be critical while criticizing your quality of the drawing. Let's move on to one other detail in structural or the architectural drawing. Usually, the walls is not going to be shown patterned, no pattern to show in the wall. On the other hand side, the columns, any structural material that you cut has to be hatched with a specific pattern. So that what can we do? You can go to this brick. And we said that the one in the middle is brick common. So that what I can do is that I go to manage materials, and I pick my, I look up the bricks. I think I pick the common one, and that's how it looks like if I cut in it. When you cut in it, don't show any pattern, make it as none, so that you make OK and then apply. It should be reflected in here as that. Also, the pattern that you see in the mortar also do not show it. If you go to the, or you can do the same thing here. So that what I want to see at the end is layers. It doesn't have any pattern in it. Here you see some pattern as well, because once you print the drawing, you want to avoid having any crowdness in it, and at the same time you want to distinguish the structural member. The structural member, you can come to it, and this is some trick as well you have to pay attention to. Once you click on the column, you will see the material that it's made of. The material that it's made of is this. You will see several cast in place concrete. So that here it's concrete cast in place gray. I can pick this one, or I can adjust the pattern that I see here. I can click on that and I can edit. I can edit the pattern here, or I can pick what pattern fits me. The concrete structure should be diagonally adjusted like this, 45 degree, going to the low left, as you would see from here, and you can adjust the spacing as well, so that you can come here and adjust the spacing. I make it default was 1.3. I make it 1.5. I make it 0.3 because if you go with 1.5, you will see they are larger spaced from each other, so that you can work this out and adjust it in order to make this pattern, and then you apply, and then OK here. One of the questions that I face is that I'm making that, but it's not showing up because technically you're not picking the same material. You are adjusting a different material, so that you have to pay attention that the material that you are adjusting is identical to what you place. Because here you would see that the concrete, you have concrete cast in situ, and then cast in place, and then masonry unit, and then concrete screen, so that you have several ones. Do not get say this is the same. No, they are not the same. This is not the same as that. So that you have to pay attention to what you pick and adjust exactly what you see. So I said that I don't want to see in projects columns that are not hatched, not shown strictly. You can pick this and see that this is how the quality of the drawing would look like even before adjusting the dimension, because what you cut through has to be the thickest, and then pattern or doors and windows that are secondary in this case is going to be a little bit lighter in dimension, in line thickness. After that, we can pick this and create similar for sure. We can place it similar to what we did, and then place our, I will just do that here. And I pick it, and then go to align this with that, and also this is. So Shabab, if you don't place it right, it's going to be a mess. You will see that the sometimes on top of the column, because instead of going up, you go down in that, so that this will adjust, will make some problems with you. So that you have to make sure that your options are running well. If you run into a problem, click the 3D and see how the columns are placed. Are they going upward or downward? They will show up for you in here. So that here you see this is one column, and this is the second column that we placed in our building. After doing this, you can place your grids. There is another way. I mean, like there is if you have systematic drawing, so that it picks like that. Again, this is one of the good options, but if you have systematic design, if you have something that is just systematic, you can say this, and you can say add grids and pick the grids that you want to work, and then it's going to be placed directly for you like that. But of course, you might run into adjusting how the grid will look like, and we talk about that. What is the orientation or the relation between the column and the grid? Sometimes we said if the column is going to shrink, if you go up, this should be respected with one side, so that you might end up shifting it a little bit like this, so that when it goes up, it's going to be respected one side. This is the clean surface, and the column going to shrink from that surface. We talk about this, and I hope that you understand the basic of that. So once I place the column, and of course, it's not just two columns. You have to place them according to what you see in your drawing, or according to the understanding of the structure, if you still remember it for sure. And you can create similar and place your these ones. I saw some of the drawings, and I have this one, as we said, the grid should be continuous, and they should have the bubble, the title of them shown from both sides. And I told you why before, because if you are in a huge project and looking in here, it's hard to track the dimension or the bubble line and see where does that go. So that's better to have them from both sides like this. The naming here is just because I started with the left one. It's 6, 7, 8. What I need to see is that we'll start with A, and then go E, and then go C. And the horizontal one, we will name them 1, 2, 3, 4, so that I can pick here and create similar. And of course, I can go this way. And of course, as you would see, by adding layers, we are adding more details in our to our building. And just close. And of course, if you name one, the other one will be named after it, so that you have this option. Of course, you can pick these ones and try to adjust them, or you can pick one of those and move them. It will be. And as we said, try to make a good distance from the walls in order to fit your internal external dimension, like this. And of course, we might have a 3 in here, so that don't say that I didn't do it. I'm just giving you illustration of how things need to be done. So that at all of the intersection of columns, we are naming two datums in order to say at intersection B2 we have this column, and at intersection C3 we have this thing, so that we can have like coordinates, like the GPS. When you say go to 67 point something 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 east, and this, it gives you coordinates. Here is also a map of coordination in order to relate all of your construction work to these ones.